Are we a religion of the book? We Catholics, and I would also say we Orthodox, because they are very close. In fact, this idea of book religion, it does not come from Christianity, it comes from Islam. It is Islam which called Judaism and Christianity, religions of the book. Because he says that his Qur'an is dictated word by God so that there is no error and that people, who were illiterate, have memorized it, they faithfully put it in writing at any given time. Then, it is the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century that gets rid of the tradition, which she said said, we are a religion of the book, we will only keep the only writing, Sola Scriptura. So, are we a book religion? Well, I would first answer Judaism, itself, is not a religion of the book. Now, the book is very important, obviously, it keeps the memory, but it is above all a religion lived from the inside by people, who carried by the Spirit Saint, by the actions of God, by the tests, have constantly deepened the message. Until the coming of Jesus it is sufficient to compare the doctrine of Moses, who teaches him that salvation is to conquer a land with an iron sword, a land that is a paradise. He never talks about life after death, to the point that his disciples, the Sadducees, in the Gospel claim that there is no life after death, since Moses does not speak about it, and when we compare with the Maccabees, a book written in Greek at the time of the invasion by the Greeks, who believe in a spiritual soul, who asserts in chapter 12 that there is even a purgatory for people who have committed a very serious sin, they have worshipped idols, we can pray for them, we can get indulgence for them, at the Temple of Jerusalem, and there they even pay for a temple sacrifice. Well, when we see this, we understand that the Jewish people, of course, the book is there, but that it comes from a holy tradition from the Holy Spirit, in the heart of the Jews. So it's not a religion of the book, and that's why they are, I would say, so mobile, they adapt, they keep progressing. Christianity, in any case at its departure, is of the same thing, of the same kind. When Jesus left, he said, I will send you a Paraclete, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, which will remind you all that I have told you. And so at the very beginning, there was nothing written, and the texts began to be written by Mark, maybe 15 years or 20 years after the death of Jesus, and then it went on. To sum up, therefore, we can say that Catholicism has three channels through which Jesus expresses himself by his Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit being in the source, first, the holy tradition, therefore it is the life of the Spirit. Holy in the hearts of the saints, he reminds the saints what to understand. This channel is not infallible, we can confuse the Holy Spirit with his own Spirit, and it is quite normal. A second channel is writing, and writing, as far as the Bible is concerned, marks only what infallibly the Holy Spirit wants, but only on one point, the doctrine of salvation, so how to go to the heaven, and what is heaven. On other points, no, there is no infallibility, men can be wrong in their writings, or write with their words of time, and it is unimportant. So do not take the Bible and the Old Testament, like a nuclear physics science book, etc. These two channels together, tradition and writing, are the foundation of the theology of the Orthodox. For Catholics, there is a third, very important channel, a charisma given to a man named Simon, whom Jesus renamed Peter. Simon is not solid, he is a fragile man, but Jesus, who is the only stone, says to him, when you will proclaim the doctrine of the salvation, infallibly, you will be protected by a charisma. So we could say that Jesus never said that, it's not in the scriptures, and yes, that's exactly why I say it, because the Holy Spirit, who continues to act in the Church, affirmed it during the First Councilor of the Vatican. There is a charism of infallibility, in the person of the successor of Peter. This charism does not come from the successor of Peter, it comes from Christ, and exerts that when, as Pope, a pope solemnly pronounces, or in an ordinary way, what salvation is, and how to obtain salvation, in a universal way, not in a practical way, in a universal way. I give a small example. The popes say that war is always, in itself, an evil, and it is true, and yet Pope Pius XII said that it was necessary, by the war, to destroy Adolf Hitler. In a universal way, it's true, war is always an evil, and in a practical way sometimes, it is a lesser evil, and Pope Pius XII did as he could. He made a bet that was winning. He chose to fight Hitler, but for that he had to tell Stalin that Hitler was going to attack. It's not infallible, it was risky. This is called pastoral, it is fallible, fragile.